If you've had a conversation with me about stress, you've probably heard me mention the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system responses. You know how in commercials for prescription drugs, there's a whole host of side effects and contraindications the announcer runs through toward the end of the commercial? When I mention either of these nervous system responses, I have a similar ticker running through my brain of all the different ways they impact you. So in an effort to share the knowledge that I don't always convey, here are the ins and outs of why you should care about what state your nervous system is in. What is the sympathetic nervous system response? While your sympathetic nervous system might sound sweet and kind, it's actually anything but. The sympathetic nervous system is actually more like a hypochondriac or a conspiracy theory nut than your kindest friend. It's often referred to as your fight, flight, or freeze response, and is your body's reaction to stress. When triggered, the sympathetic nervous system response activates your adrenal system, flooding your body with adrenaline, also known as norepinephrine, and cortisol. Adrenaline is often credited with giving mothers the strength to lift cars off their babies, and cortisol is referred to as the stress hormone. As these hormones flood your system, your heart and respiration rates increase, bringing more oxygen into the body and sending that oxygen to your muscles. And all resources in your body move to your extremities, preparing to give you the strength to engage in life-saving actions. So, what's wrong with it? In terms of evolution, this made a lot of sense. As you walked across the savannah, if you spotted a lion headed in your direction, the sympathetic nervous system response gave your body the resources it needed to escape from becoming the lion's dinner. However, in our modern world, we are much less likely to encounter actual life-threatening stress, and much more likely to find ourselves overwhelmed with day-to-day stress. Instead of a lion, we are dealing with deadlines, bills, and traffic. We are chronically overcommitted and struggle to set boundaries. All of these things cause stress. And here's the catch. Remember I compared the sympathetic nervous system to a hypochondriac or a conspiracy theory nut? Our body can't tell the difference between actual life-threatening danger and everyday stress. It responds to a work deadline the same way it responds to a lion. Only our current stress is chronic. Back on the savannah, if you didn't escape the lion relatively quickly, you were probably dinner, and it didn't matter anyway. However, our day-to-day stress is never ending, causing our body to remain in a sympathetic nervous system response much longer than ever before. Our bodies are just not capable of handling a high level of stress hormones day in and day out. If you've ever heard someone mention adrenal fatigue, this may be how it happens. When you are constantly stressed, your body is constantly pumping out the stress hormones, and eventually it can't keep up. Just like a car with an empty gas tank, once you drain your adrenals, you will also stop going. Okay, but what's the alternative? Enter the parasympathetic nervous system response. This is often referred to as your rest and digest mode. Go back to the savannah again. Once you escaped from the lion by getting into your nice safe cave with an entrance too small for the lion to squeeze through, your body would switch from the sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. With the cause of your stress gone, you no longer need adrenaline and cortisol flooding through your body, and your resources no longer need to be dedicated to your extremities. A fast run or hand-to-hand combat are no longer imminent. Your heart and respiration rates slow, and as your body reallocates your energy, your digestive and reproductive systems begin to function normally again. That all sounds good, but why is the parasympathetic nervous system so important? When you are in a parasympathetic nervous system response, it's the equivalent of parking your car at the gas pump. You are refilling your tank so that when you again face stress, you have what it takes to get through the situation. During sympathetic nervous system response, your digestive and reproductive systems all but shut down. So, that big lunch you had before embarking on an afternoon packed with stressful activities will still be there when you try to pack a full dinner on top of it. So it's no surprise you go to bed at night feeling overfull. Follow this trend over the long run, and you end up with unhealthy weight gain, especially in the belly area due to excessive cortisol, which causes fat to deposit in this region, and increasingly poor digestion. And with this weight gain comes a whole host of additional adverse health factors. So, how do I get from my sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system? The flip answer is just stop stressing. Then your body will shift from your sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. But the actual practical, realistic answer is to implement several tools and techniques which will help you trigger your parasympathetic nervous system to engage. Remember that these nervous system responses have an impact on your respiration rate. By taking slow and intentional breaths, you send a message to your body that it should be in a parasympathetic nervous system state. This is a simple technique you can use throughout your day. Regularly engage in other activities which help reduce your stress level, including yin and restorative yoga practices, walking and time in nature, meditation, mindfulness practices, reading an enjoyable book, and anything else which leaves you feeling rested and nourished. These will help to shift your body from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system responses. This is an ongoing practice. Don't expect that overnight you will be able to shift from spending most of your time in your sympathetic nervous system to your parasympathetic nervous system, unless you're willing to walk away from everything in your life which can cause you stress, like your job, relationships with partners, friends and family, your house, bills, and so on. The stress will still be there. The goal of finding a healthy balance in your life is to eliminate stress where possible, and then develop tools to help you regularly and consistently shift away from the stress that remains. This is a great place to introduce your slow and intentional breath work or any other practices that resonated with you in the previous section. If it feels really difficult at first, that's because you're doing some tough work. It took you years to get to the level of stress you're currently in. Don't expect yourself to be able to totally change gears in a week. However, as you work with these techniques, you will find it becomes easier and easier for you to shift from stress, anxiety, and overwhelm into a more relaxed and easy state.